Thank you for checking us out this week on Convincing Idiots, episode 242. You're going to be glad that you stopped by here because, well, unfortunately, we're going to start with George Wendt, his passing, rest in peace, Norm, but we get to talk about Sesame Street. And these two Muppets here are going to discuss Sesame Street going to Netflix. And they're going to be joining The Rock, maybe giving a suplex to Big Bird. I don't know. We're going to talk about it. But we are also going to talk about Scrubs coming back. And that gets us into our question of the week, where we talk about reboots. What TV shows we'd like to see rebooted. We're going to talk about that. And then our main topic. You're going to love this. We're going to talk about the most perfect casting of characters. There's so many on our list. It's going to be great. We're great. We're funny. You're here. So nothing more than to start the show.
Enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test.
Welcome to the podcast, welcome to the vodcast, welcome to the broadcast. Boys and girls, welcome to the show. This is Convincing Idiots. My name's Dean, the Zennial.
I'm Brian, Gen X.
And the silence you hear there is we are Nicholas. For the evening, he is getting his oil changed, meaning a finger in the ass by a professional. We really shouldn't spill the tea or talk about his business. We'll let him show whatever pictures he's willing to show when he comes back. But until then, Brian, it is just you and I.
Yes, indeed. Since I'm the only consistent thing of the show the last couple of weeks here, I will tell you all about us. So we are a podcast of friends from different generations talking all things nerd and pop culture each and every week. Most of us do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You might be listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts. So it can be found on all major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Cast, etc. Wherever you listen to podcasts, find the Convincing Idiots podcast.
This cast.
Damn straight. Just give us a free follow or subscribe, and we'll pop into your podcast feed free of charge every week. You might be watching us on our YouTube channel at Convincing Idiots. All show information can be found in two main places. Our Linktree page, just simply Google Linktree Convincing Idiots. Simply links to all of our stuff. And you go to one place, go to our website, convincingidiots.wordpress.com. All show information's there, bios, links to new episodes, links to videos, merch store, ways to sponsor the show. If you do anything at all, tell a friend, help them find us, and subscribe as well. We appreciate that and your support.
If you don't like us, tell a fucking enemy.
That's right. Or three,
Or 3, 4.
Yeah.
Sneak onto everybody's phone, steal their phones. I actually recommend people stealing other people's phones and putting us on everything, YouTube's, even download more ways to listen to podcasts and subscribe that way.
Absolutely. So, Dee, what's the show pop you have this evening?
Oh, my show pop. I got me good old-fashioned Boston lager, Sam Adams. And
Very solid.
In this cozy that you might be able to get at our merch store or something like it, maybe. I don't know.
Or not. I don't know. But that's okay. I am having...
Why do we not have cozies? We need
I
to look into
don't
that.
think we do. Yeah, your sister made those for us some time ago. But yeah,
We should look into that.
we will look into that. I'm having some leftover St. Patrick's Time, so Irish Cream Stout by Southern Tier Brewing Company out of New York, but very,
Nice.
very tasty. Yes, indeed.
It's like
So,
both of us just found whatever's left in the fridge.
yep, yep. It's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
All right. So, some pop culture headlines,
Let's get into
Dean.
this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you hate as usual to start with someone passing on, but I feel we need to recognize this gentleman here. From one of you and I's favorite shows for many years, Cheers. George Wendt passed away, Dean, age 76. Norm Peterson on Cheers. Certainly he was probably easily most well known for that role, right?
Absolutely.
So ran for 11 seasons. And there's some videos out there if you're inclined. I was watching some yesterday where someone's throwing together every Norm opening. So when Norm walked into the bar, they strung it all together. Every episode, if you are inclined to go check that out. So Norm always had a funny quip when he would walk in, very, very good. He also had roles on Taxi, Alice, Making the Grade. Prior to Cheers, he had some movie roles. So definitely had a pretty prominent career. So, Dean, George Wendt fan. Any words about Mr. Wendt?
He is a television icon, or was a television icon, still is.
Yeah.
If you look at it, there is not one of us, even from being children to especially into adulthood, that doesn't crave walking into your local tavern and everybody screaming your name in unison.
Right. That's right.
Just for the joy of you entering the room. And he had that for 11 years.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
No, I was just continuing of how iconic the role was, and I didn't put it. We're doing our main event tonight. We can say it now. We are going to be talking about actors that were cast in the perfect roles. I think we're focusing more on movies, but if there's any honorable mention that needs to be in that category, it is George Wendt with the role of Norm.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody could have pulled off not just like the look or the vibe, but like the one-liners. Like how funny he was in his one-liners.
Yeah.
And I shared on Facebook when he passed, there's a clip of the last episode of Cheers. It was the beginning of that last scene. Where everybody left except Sam, and then Norm came back in and wanted to tell Sam what he thought happiness meant. And if you go back and through your Google machine and watch that last scene with Norm and Sam at the bar where he tells him what happiness is. Yeah. It's a beautiful scene. It is especially touching, upon his passing, like the words that he said. So, yeah, rest in peace. He's up there sitting on his stool in heaven right now.
Absolutely. I think I sat in. There's the actual Cheers bar is in Boston. It doesn't look, as we know, it's not the same. It's not the set, but it is the outside of it.
Yes.
And they built like a Cheers quote unquote bar inside there, and they have plaques on the bar. So I sat in Norm's quote unquote Norm's seat. That was pretty cool. You're right about the role, man. It just definitely played a very good everyman. And I don't know, but did you picture yourself as a kid, like someday I'm going to be hanging out at my local tavern and I'm going to walk in and people's going to know did you envision that you would be sort of like a Norm?
I had hoped, not even a tavern, but just like anywhere where like you just have a group of friends that are that happy to see you.
Yeah.
And yells out in unison. But nobody likes me that much, so I can keep wishing, I guess. So sometimes it's only held on to by the greats, right?
Yeah, that's right. I just learned this when I went through the story here, Dean. But his nephew is a very famous TV actor in his own right. Did you know that?
I did not.
His nephew stars in one of your favorite shows. Jason Sudeikis is his nephew. I did not know that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I did not know that either.
Yeah. So that's his sister's son. How about that? Would you?
Jason Sudeikis is
George Wendt's son,
George
nephew.
Nephew. That's
Yeah.
wild. I did
How
not know
about
that.
that? Yeah.
Very cool.
There you go. Yeah. So there you have it. So definitely talent, acting talent ran in the family. That's or runs in the family, I should say, for sure.
Everything that runs in my family is anxiety.
Well, you're good at it.
I'm very.
Yeah. So let's see here. So Sunny Days, Dean, are back for Sesame Street. So I didn't really realize this here, but Sesame Street had
those little bastards.
Well, they certainly are trying with taking money from PBS and everything. But so Sesame Street had been still running on PBS Live.
Okay.
And it had been running on HBO on demand, and new episodes were streaming on HBO Max as well. Well, Warner did not re-sign a contract with Sesame Street to run new shows, only to run prior episodes on demand. But Sesame Street has signed a deal with Netflix, so now they will start to air new episodes on Netflix. So kids can see live shows at simultaneously on PBS, at PBS Kids app, and apparently Netflix. So helps preserve the show. It's coming up on its 56th season later this year.
56. Wow.
Yes. So very good for Sesame Street for sure. So I think so Warner Brothers did not want to re-sign because they're rebranding and everything. So they're going to rebrand the name from Max to I think they're going to go back to HBO or HBO Max or something like that. So it just didn't fit in their agenda. So
Sesame Street's been on for 56 years.
Yes.
So you didn't watch it because you were like in your mid-20s when it started, right?
No, I watched it as a kid, man. It was definitely one of my favorite shows as a kid, for sure. I was an avid Sesame Street watcher, So I was an only child, though, too. So it was like one of those things where, I could watch whatever I wanted, and you just felt a connection to those characters, So I don't know, but good for Sesame Street. My favorite as a kid probably was. I really liked the Count. He was always one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Probably Big Bird, though, man. I got a stuffed Big Bird as a boy, and just always loved that character. So, how about you? Were you a Sesame Street kid growing up?
Sesame Street kid. I enjoyed it just as many as any kid from the '80s did. My favorite was always Cookie Monster, I believe.
Yeah, so good.
Real kinship with him. That and if you can combine Cookie Monster and Snuffleupagus, you really have my adulthood wrapped into some depression and cookies. Fuck, I am on board.
Yeah. You definitely look back on some of those characters, and I'm sure it was purposeful where they, there were different emotions and types of people were definitely within those Muppets for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Anxieties and eating disorders and grouch and just all kinds of things. But good for them.
You're talking about moodiness, gluttony, depression, anxiety. I think I might be a Muppet, Brian. I'm thinking about this now. I have the hair for it, so
yeah.
I think I might be a Muppet.
Yeah, you definitely had a lot of hands up your ass. Hey, look
I,
out.
I appreciate if you can stop reading my diary.
All right. Well, the Doors, Dean, made the news. They haven't did the Doors news story in some time here, so I had not
Because they
realized this, but
broke up many years ago.
many years ago. So Jim Morrison has been dead for several years, but
Allegedly.
allegedly, that's right. So his gravesite is, you know where it is?
France.
Yes, that's right, Paris, France. So there was a bust placed there in 1980. Well, it actually was placed there in, let's see, he passed away in 1971 at the age of 27. So a sculpture of Morrison was made by Croatian artist Madlin McCollin, and he placed it at Morrison's grave in 1981 on the 10th anniversary of his death, and someone stole it in 1988.
Okay.
And no one knew who had stolen it. And just recently,
We
the
are close
Paris
to being
police found
true.
it.
We are dangerously close to being a true crime podcast right now.
That's right. So it was an investigation by the Financial Anti-Corruption Brigade, and it's very
later they found it.
They found it. So 37 years ago, they found the bust.
Okay.
No suspects have been named, and that's it. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. You look at the thing; it's not in the best shape. I mean, people have kind of defaced the headstone and around there, so they've had to kind of block off some things. People writing graffiti and whatnot here, but I would have to imagine they'll probably try to fix it and remaster it or whatever it is. I highly doubt they'll put it back at the grave site. Maybe if they do, I'm sure it'll be protected this time.
I mean, I don't like to promote crime or stealing or anything like that, but I've been trying to get my hands on some busts for a long time now, Brian.
Yes. Since '88, actually, as well, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Yeah.
Same amount of time. That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to come by. They're hard to come by,
Very. Especially when you look like us.
That's right. That's right. I remember when someone stole the O.J. Simpson bust from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Someone got it out of there. I don't know how the hell.
Yeah,
I mean, this thing here was like 300 pounds, this bust or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So clearly you have to have a few people making an effort to move the damn thing. Just when that stuff happens, it's like fast. I saw another one was the Melania Trump. This is recent, I think, as well. There was some statue of her.
Realize you can't speak English?
Yes. Right.
Yeah, that's always fun.
I guess there was a statue of her in her hometown somewhere, and someone cut it off at the ankles and stole it. Something like that. It's just. I don't know. Good. If you could steal something like that, what would you if you could somehow manage to steal something odd like that? What would you envision trying to steal, or have you envisioned? Go ahead.
100%. Stanford, Connecticut, at the WWE headquarters, there is a life-size statue of Andre the Giant. I don't know how.
Oh my God!
But I want that giant Andre the Giant statue in my house. He just stands there with his arms crossed. Yeah, that's what I'd steal.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know how heavy that thing was. As a kid, I always thought it'd be cool as a kid. I'm sure you could probably get them, but I always thought it'd be cool to get one of those like Big Boys from Big Boy Restaurant. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's a good one.
They're out there, Yeah.
I think it'll be too, right?
Oh, I'm sure. And most Big Boys are closed. And I saw some picture the other day. It was like a Big Boy graveyard, literally, where they had a bunch of them just behind some gate that they were just sitting there. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Unfortunately, the closest you're going to come to having a Big Boy is doing this podcast every Thursday.
That's right. Also, the listeners, for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Y'all got me.
Google, these AI, it just continue. Go ahead.
I did want to say something about that Jim Morrison.
Go ahead, please.
Statue thing. Not just a statue. Did you know that there is a a Netflix documentary out right now about that he's still alive, and like they have him on like this guy on camera that they're claiming to be Jim Morrison, living, I can't remember, maybe Chicago or I don't know where, but it's in the U.S. or something maybe. But the documentary is claiming that Jim Morrison is still alive, and they have proof. I until you just said it, I forgot about this documentary. I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna watch this. But it is.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Now, do you believe it? Or you have to
Um,
see the documentary? I mean, is there any chance? Okay.
I've heard the rumors for years that he faked his own death, and if you looked at like how he dealt with fame and his outlook on all of that, mentally, I can see it happening. I can see him being in that mindset to do it. Did he pull it off? I don't know. Probably not. But I'm curious enough to watch the documentary.
Okay. Yeah, I would check that out. What about Elvis? Do you believe Elvis is still alive?
I do not.
Yeah.
I do not. There was a part of me when I was a kid that was very intrigued by that. That was convinced that because I'd watched all these
the guy in Home Alone is the Elvis,
right.
And this and that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there is a documentary they did where they interviewed his best friends and the guy who dyed his hair because Elvis was had white hair by the time he died. It was all a dye job, and this guy his hairdresser was called in to dye his hair after he died. And his testimony, like how close he was, like you realize, like, yeah, he was dead. Like he didn't fake his death. Like that, if that guy's not the greatest actor in the world, right? That sort of thing. And like the descriptor, I don't know. I just no, I don't believe Elvis faked his death. What about you?
No.
Were you ever in that camp?
No, I guess it's one of those things where you would like something like that to be true and not have some of these icons die the way they did, right. And they found happiness peacefully, secretly, and all that stuff. But I just can't, I just can't buy into it. I will. It is interesting, though. I will check out the documentary and we'll have to talk about
I'm
that.
going to as well.
Yeah.
Because out of all of them, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, all these people people have claimed that these stars faked their death. Honestly, the Jim Morrison one to me would be the most, at least, acceptable to believe.
Yeah, right. Like you say, because where he was at and just wanting to get out of all of that,
he hated the whole deal.
Yeah. Elvis and Michael weren't looking to get out of fame, for one reason or another.
But not fame.
Right. All right. Back to AI for a second here, Dean. So, the AI stories all the time. The technology continues to rapidly advance. Some people are definitely concerned about that for many reasons. Nick and I talked about some of this last week, even. But these stories, they're real. It's like you read them. It's like it can't possibly. When you read about this stuff here, it's like, man. So Google has just announced a new $250 per month AI Ultra plan for people who want unlimited access to its most advanced machine learning features. Yes. That's the right price. So it's $50 more expensive than the already Chat GPT Pro and Claude Max plans, and from OpenAI and Anthropic, respectively. So here's what you get for $250: early access to new models like VO3, the new AI models, unlimited usage of features like Flow, which this is an also mind-boggling thing here. So it's a new AI filmmaking app the company announced this week.
Oh, I thought it was one of those apps that just tells you to kiss your grits.
Right? Yeah. No, it's FLOW.
Oh,
What you're thinking of the other app, FLO. That's that app.
My bad.
Yeah.
I got
I would
confused
like that though.
sometimes.
Actually, I would just
Right.
download that
Kiss
app.
my grants.
Yeah, just put it on the smart device there, and just say, "Have Flo tell me something." And yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah.
So so again, Flow is a new AI filmmaking company or filmmaking app, excuse me, and the compute intensive deep research in the coming weeks. So Google's also going to roll out Gemini 2.5 Pro model.
Gemini.
Subscribers can also look forward to an access to Project Mariner, which is a web surfing agent, and Gemini within Chrome, plus all the other stuff with chatbot and Gmail and Docs and all that type of stuff.
I
So
have no fucking idea of what you're talking about right now.
I know. Yeah.
Sorry, it's like you're speaking German right now. I have no clue.
Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to get my head there as well. So you get new AI models. You get the usage of that AI filmmaking app, which you see, watch some of that. It's like, it's pretty astounding, I guess, what you can do. So compute intensive deep research. So yeah, again, apparently you can ask it. I don't know if you just have access to different levels of information. And then you also get
if you pay the $200, you can ask this AI if Jim Morrison is still alive, and it'll tell you the truth.
It's very possible.
Yeah,
we should ask it. We'll ask it at the break.
Okay.
We'll ask it at the break and see what it says. Yeah. But yeah, and Google also has a new AI feature in its search engine as well that you can ask questions. So they're rolling that out as well. So.
Do you need all this?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know who now. Maybe if you're a super content creator or you need that type of technology for
scams.
Maybe.
I tell you, I just started dabbling. I just started dipping my toes in the Chat GPT. I downloaded the app, and the only thing I needed two things. I want to make all of us look like Simpsons characters, which I have done, and I think is wonderful. And the other one, I thought I needed it. I said, "Hey, Chat GPT, tell me where I can get the best insurance in town." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, no, Chat GPT, let me tell you where you get the best insurance in town." And it is with the Blake Insurance Group. I'm waiting for the applause that was put in there. It's an independent agency located right here in Barberton, offering personal care and support for all of your insurance needs. Brian, if you need auto, home, business, or even life insurance, give Aaron a call. He's going to treat you with the honesty and respect that even you deserve. So, Brian, call Blake Insurance Group at 234-571-5359. And you can even find him at blakeinsurancellc.com. And it'll give you a free 5-minute quote today. You might even do it quicker. He's a really smart guy.
Quicker than Chat GPT quotes.
Much quicker. Yeah, it has to think. He's like, I can save you here, or you're going to be better off here. He's going to give you every point of view that you need to make you the most informed insurance decision. So why wouldn't you contact Aaron Blake at the Blake Insurance Group?
Aaron's known locally as the Chat GPT of insurance agents, if I may.
But that's what they say on the playground.
That's right. Excellent.
I mean, that's the last thing I heard before they told me I wasn't allowed on the playground
Please
anymore.
Leave. Please
leave.
Yeah, please respect the 100-yard order. Yeah.
Fine, whatever.
So, reboots of old shows, nostalgia is definitely in, Dean. So now you are a big fan of the Night Court reboot, which had some original actors come back to reprise their roles, namely John Larroquette.
And Marsha Warfield has come back periodically
Mhm.
to reprise her role as Roz Russell.
Very good.
And it's going very well. I think the ratings are going well. It's funny as the old Night Court used to be, because they even have like some like old some of the people would come on in trial or whatever. They've had some old actors reprise their roles even there.
Very cool.
So if you were like a fan, like you'd see some of the, you're like, oh shit, I remember when that guy did this on this episode, back in the 80s. So yeah, I think they're doing a very good job of it, much better than they did with the Quantum Leap.
Okay, very good. Well, another show's coming back. I think I know I was a fan of the show. I believe you were too, Dean. So Scrubs.
Huge fan.
Scrubs is coming back, and they're bringing back some original actors. So Zach Braff is already in to reprise his role as John J.D. Dorian. And now that he's in, now there's speculation that they'll bring in some other original actors as well. Christopher Turk.
Donald
Faison. Yeah.
Well, they were doing the show, the podcast, Fake Doctors, Real Friends, throughout COVID and whatnot, and they'd had different cast members on with to guest star in it, and all of them always said, man, we should bring it back. We should so like if you go back and listen through that podcast series, you kind of can hear the birth of it. Like when I heard this report, I wasn't surprised at all. Like I had heard that it was coming. Like they were all trying to actively get it done. Even the creator of the show had been on multiple times, and yeah, they were all on board. John C. McGinley has always said he's on board. Sarah Chalk is on board. I don't know if they've been officially announced, but I know all of them has said it on air on the podcast that they would be more than happy to come back.
Yeah, the article here says that the outlet reports that with now Braff on board, it's safe to expect deals to be negotiated with other original cast members like Faison. Sarah Chalk.
Faison's already signed. They just haven't announced it.
Okay.
There's no way those two, one would have done it without the other.
I would have to imagine, yeah. They were very good together. John C. McGinley, who was played by Perry Cox. Judy Rise, played by Carla Espinoza. So it had like a weird like last season or something where some of the main characters were had left the show or whatever. But
they did the second to the last season, which was quote unquote the last season, right? And they wrapped it up sort of, put a little bow on it, and then they brought it back for like the final season on ABC, and
that's right,
called it Scrubs Interns or Scrubs Medical School, I think.
Yeah, so that sounds right.
So it technically wasn't like the last season of the proper Scrubs. They was trying to be a spinoff, but it still had, a lot of the castmates. JD came back for like half the season or something like that. So, and it was not well received because it wasn't very good.
Yeah. So will you watch the revival?
1,000%.
Yeah.
I am stoked for it. Now, when you brought up this idea of reboots, Brian, there's some that work and some don't. I started going through. I kind of Googled, great shows, best shows of the 80s and 90s, and as I'm scrolling, I'm going, rebooted already. So you got Frasier, all of these shows has at least had one more season. Will and Grace was rebooted. Like all of these shows. Great shows have already come back and reboot. So why not bring Scrubs back?
Sure.
It's funnier than most of them.
I agree. So, well, let's ask you a question then, Dean. So one that has not yet been rebooted, what is a show that you would like to see rebooted? But the caveat is it has to use, now some original actors have passed on from prior shows, of course, but whoever might be still with us, and what would you want to see? So,
Okay.
any thoughts? Go ahead.
I have a couple actually.
Go ahead.
I have a handful here. My first thought was Home Improvement.
Okay. Yeah.
The kids don't need to come back except for cameos because, like, in reality, they would have been all moved out with their own kids. You know, they can come back randomly with the grandkids.
Sure.
But, I mean, focus on Jill and Tim. In their later years. And maybe he's starting back up the show, the whatever cool time. Maybe he's
That's right.
that back up, and Al comes back along, and yeah,
Sure.
I think you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Other one I had, Third Rock from the Sun. I just think all of those actors are so goddamn talented. I think it would be fun to see what they could do at this age with those characters.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime I can get John Lithgow on my TV, I'm
Sure.
game for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then two more. The Drew Carey Show. It was beloved as a kid. It did have that decline of the last season or two of not being, great. They lost some of the actors, tried to bring on people to replace them. But if you just brought the three guys back, Drew and Ryan Stiles and Dietrich Bader, if you brought those three back, I don't care what you do. Fuck, come to think of it, I don't even need Drew Carey shows. Just give me a show with those three, playing off each other, and I'm in heaven. And then the last one. This is my favorite one I thought of. We talked about the Muppets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a rated R version of an Alf sitcom. All you need is it's kind of like Ted, the dirty teddy bear. Put Alf and get the kid from that show, and like he's living with him, like in an apartment in Manhattan or some shit.
I like that.
And just maybe that kid's like his, maybe he's down on his luck, divorced now, and then all of a sudden Alf comes back into his life, and he tried to tell himself all these years that it was fake, and the government even tried to tell him that he didn't actually live with Alf, and it was all a dream. Yeah, there's a multitude of ways you could go about it, but I want a R-rated version of Alf, one way or the other.
I like it. That's good.
What about
That's
you?
Good.
What do you want to see rebooted, Brian?
I'm stealing an idea that I talked about on a while ago on the show here. The one that keeps coming up in my mind is you could bring back Cheers. Bring back Cheers with Ted Danson, except the premise is the same premise we talked about before, and that is Ted Danson is still has the bar, but he's trying to change it up. People are, he's getting older, certainly, and he's got younger people in there trying to help him manage it, and they convince him to turn it into like a craft beer place, and he doesn't really know what's going on. He thinks it's all ridiculous. He's dealing with the hipsters, and doesn't know what's going on with all this stuff. I think it'd be kind of funny to have a kind of a Sam that's sort of not confused, but just frustrated with he doesn't get this new age shit, and that type of deal. You know what I mean? So I think the premise there would be kind of good. You have still some of the actors are around. Yeah. Rio Perlman, John Ratzenberger. I mean, there's a lot of them. Frasier. They're all still around.
Like retired now, and he's now constantly sitting. You'd have the Norm stool empty at all times.
Yes.
And Ratzenberg is retired and just sits there and does his Cliff jawing at people. Yeah.
Maybe it's Woody's idea to turn into a crap bar. Someone said Woody Harrelson could come in and make some cameos or whatever. Probably too busy to be on the show. But I just think it'd be fun.
Or to get the idea of where Woody wouldn't have to come in for cameos. So Woody Boyd somehow, because he was an idiot, right? Like he was a bumpkin, but he backwards fell into this craft beer thing back at home, and now he's come back and saved Sam by buying the bar, and he's his rich benefactor.
Yeah. There you go.
So he he heard it was going under, so he came in and bought it, and so he can only have to come in so often.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to get Woody Harrelson for the whole time.
I like it.
So, yeah, it's an idea.
That's good. And then how about bring back the $6 million man, Lee Majors. He's not the $6 million man though. He's still Steve Austin, right?
Okay.
But he's more, obviously he's an older man now, but but maybe he's more of the Oscar type character now. So he's running the organization, and there's another bionic man or woman. I think the bionic woman, that actress, is she still with us? I don't know, but
okay.
I don't know. There's something there, the corny 70s vibe and a new show, and this Lee Majors.
I don't accept this premise if every time he gets up out of a seat, you hear like metal creaking, because he's made of all these parts that are still in him, but they're a little rusty now. So
or you can make it a comedy type thing. Now that you say that, sort of making fun of himself, where he's the older bionic man, and you could that's the premise. Maybe he's just in trying to live his life as the bionic man in a suburb somewhere or a retirement community or something like that, and then he accidentally, busts something or whatever it is. He still has the super strength with his bionic arm. There's something there.
And at a certain point, I do want small one-liners, like an old lady that has dementia will constantly ask him if he used to be a stuntman.
Sure. Yep.
And he's like, no. And then he kind of looks at the camera.
Yep. And there's subtle things like, you see the Farrah Fawcett 70s poster hanging up somewhere, who was his ex-wife, and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead.
You walk in, and you know how there's always a TV where 5 old people are watching it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an episode of Night Court from the 80s, and where Marky Post is on the screen, and he walks by and turns it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this idea.
Let's feed this into Chat GPT. I mean, we have at least 5 episodes right now that we're talking about. That's at least 5 episodies. It's almost a pilot. Least,
you could do a movie. You could do a one-off movie that could be pretty damn funny. Granted, they already bastardized the name Fall Guy for a movie, but I say bastardized. It was a decent movie, but it wasn't Lee Majors.
No. All right, something there.
Yeah,
I like a couple ideas. Yeah. So, what are your ideas out there for a show reboot with some original actors who are still with us? We want to hear from you. Contact us on social media. Email us at convincingidiots@gmail.com. All right. Go ahead.
Next week, we're going to reboot Convincing Idiots and bring back Nick.
That's right.
Going to be exciting.
It'll be wild. It'll be wild. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a drink. We're going to ask Chat GPT if that's okay as well. And we're going to come back with our main segment right after this. Gen X Brian here from the Convincing Idiots podcast. If you're enjoying our show, tell a friend. And if you're not, well, tell 2 enemies. Four, 3.
And we're back. Back again. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. We're back for segment 2, ladies and gentlemen. We are lubricated, as Brian's getting lubricated right now, and we are raring to go in our main event.
Mm-hmm.
And for our main event, Brian, why don't you tell the nice little young boys and girls out there what we have in store for them?
Yeah, we're going to talk about perfectly cast roles. Could be movies or television shows
Oh, not like my fat rolls? Oh.
No,
I got to change my list here. Hold on.
yeah,
Go on.
update that.
Yeah.
Ask Chat GPT there quick, but yeah. So you get TV. So what roles are just perfectly cast, and then so what is before we get into our list here, Dean? So what in your mind? What is a perfectly cast role for you?
Okay, a perfectly cast role is easily you can imagine anybody else playing that role. Simply as that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who your list, so I don't want. Well, I might end up shitting on your list by saying this, but it can't be like Batman's because, like, there have been multiple good Batmans. Everybody wants to go with the idea of the Joker, Heath Ledger. No, there's some pretty good goddamn Jokers out there.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it has been rebooted, there has been some reboots where like the other person did dog shit. So you're like, well, that just proves that like nobody can touch that role. And maybe you think that with Heath Ledger. I don't know, but I think Jack Nicholson did a pretty goddamn good job as Joker. So stuff like that. There's like let's see, what is some of the roles of some iconic roles out there. All right, Maximus from Gladiator, right? There's plenty of guys that could have done that. Did he do a fantastic job? Absolutely. You're like, wow, like that's Maximus. Like if hell, even after when I see him on other things, that he's Maximus. But let's be honest, they could have put a lot of different guys in there that would have done just as good.
Yeah.
It's those roles that are like absolutely nobody else could have played.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. Where maybe someone else that you say could play the role, but it would be so hard to follow after whoever started it.
Yep.
Not that some may have.
Sure.
Right, but it's not the same quite as the first actors who played that particular role. So what's one on your list, Dean?
Okay. Well, the first on my list should be on the first on everybody's list. Jeff Bridges as the dude.
Yeah.
If you think about it, the style, the mannerism, the way he speaks, nobody could portray the dude as the dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you could get a Jeff Goldblum, right, and put him in there. He's going to have it's not going to be the dude. Like the dude is Jeff Bridges, and somehow in his age, the actual Jeff Bridges seems to be morphing into the dude, which is awesome. Which just goes to show that like that's an iconic role that only an icon like that could have done.
Yeah.
So first on my list, The Dude by Jeff Bridges.
That's a great. You take the same movie and put anybody else in there as good as John Goodman was, and you're right. It's not the same movie. It just would not have hit at the level that it hit. Yeah, great one. I'm starting on superheroes. Wolverine.
Okay.
Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
All the years as a comic book fan, and people just vying to see Wolverine on the screen. I don't even remember if people were sort of angry or disappointed. I mean, Hugh Jackman wasn't as well known back then, certainly when he started playing the role. But as soon as you saw that guy, it's like, yes, that is Wolverine. Definitely evolved it evolved for the better.
Sure.
But he is Wolverine. I cannot picture
tricky situation because as we talk about these iconic movie roles, he was an iconic comic book character who was beloved, beloved. So I don't care who you would put in there until you saw them. You're going, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? Because like it can never live up to your expectations of what you think it should be in live action, and then you see him and you're like, I was wrong. Yeah, that's perfect. That is Wolverine.
Absolutely. Even to the later movies, certainly. I mean, give the guy credit. I mean, the work to put himself in just crazy shape,
Right.
to play that role. He's got the attitude down. It's so happy to see him come back in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, and he's going to be in upcoming movies as well for a while. So, man, good for him, and just
look at what he
as long as he can do
put
it.
himself through to make those metal things come out of his hand. Jeez.
Yeah, very, very
God
painful.
bless him. Very painful.
A lot of training. Yeah.
It's that dedication. That's why I call it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Who's next on your list, Dean?
Next is there's shades of gray here, because it's a little different of a role, but there is no other voice could have been Darth Vader but James Earl Jones, and I went back and forth on this one because he's not in the suit, you can't see his face, but there is no other voice on God's green earth that could even convince you that it's right. You know what I mean? So I did have to go to on this stretch, and I'm going to die on this hill. James Earl Jones as as the voice of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We said this before on the show. It's just would not be the same character.
No. Not the same movie.
No. He had the cool look, the breathing was foreboding.
Mm-hmm.
But they were smart enough to put that voice in there and just took that character, like you said, the whole other level of terror.
Yep.
And intrigue. And that's right. You could to a point where they literally will not have another actor voice him, because as we know, when James Earl Jones, he passed away, he signed over his voice rights before he passed away to Disney, so they could replicate his voice with whatever technology, and his voice will forever be Vader.
I wouldn't be surprised if he went in and did like different reads of like different words, so they could put it together later.
I wouldn't surprise me either. Yep. That's a great one.
All right, Brian, what do you have next on your list?
Another superhero makes a lot of lists. Made a recent list as well for favorite character arcs last week, even. Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark.
Yep, there you
Iron
go.
Man. Again, could others play the role even now? Maybe, but
and will they? Probably.
I don't know. I think he's so good.
I'm talking about when they reboot everything. The rumor reboot of Marvel.
Now, if they did that, okay, but it won't be.
No,
I don't. It'd be very difficult. It'd be very difficult to live up to that. Yeah, it was just a perfect cast at the time, and as we know, without that first Iron Man movie just being such a smash hit,
right?
Then we would not be very likely would not have seen the Marvel universe become what it has, and Disney able to retake the rights to Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and just continue to build itself up. Just without him in that first movie.
The charisma and aura that Robert Downey Jr. has is unmatched.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, watch him as an old man senator in Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
and you get, and you still get, there's just something about him that's dynamic.
Yeah.
And that is why he is the only Iron Man.
That's right. Very much looking forward to him in the Doctor Doom role, whatever how that works. But never be the same without him. All right, what you got?
All right, so let's stick with superheroes, Brian.
Sure.
You could cast a lot of people in a lot of different superhero roles, and you could flip flop and do multiverse, this, that, and the other. But when you hear and see Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool, and being Deadpool, he wrote it in his voice, he does it in his style, and it is the Deadpool coming off the page to talk to the reader image that you get in live action.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody could have done it other than Ryan Reynolds.
Nope. You're right. Perfect. And it let him clearly have fun in that role. They clearly give him a lot of liberty, and it just works so it would not work in any other character.
Right.
But it definitely works for that character. Yeah, just perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, well, this character, kind of goes against a little bit what you said earlier. This character certainly has been played by many different actors, right? But for me, the perfect cast of this character was and still is, for me, Christopher Reeve as Superman. So,
okay,
again, can other people? Henry Cavill, great Superman. I'm sure this corn sweat kid will be a great Superman as well. So I'm not saying you can't ever replace Superman, right? It just, for me, a perfect casting at the time when the movies first launched. There was no better choice at that time than Christopher Reeve. He just embodied, as we know, that character from the look, the demeanor. He played such a fantastic Clark Kent, with the nerdy, the bumbling. He was just a perfect cast at that time for Superman in that era. No, I don't know who else would. I mean, again, there's many fine actors in the '70s, but that was one of the smartest things they did, bring him on, even though the third and fourth were, crazy, ridiculous clunkers or whatever. But it certainly wasn't for Christopher Reeve's performance as Superman.
Right. There was a scene in Superman 2, I believe. I believe they were in the hotel room that just epitomizes what Christopher Reeves could do as both Superman and Clark Kent. She was in the bathroom, and he was going to finally tell her that he is Superman. And
he stood up,
and like just his posture and the acting he did with his shoulders and neck, you go, oh fuck, okay. Like we've always made those jokes. Oh, a pair of glasses, that's all it took to fool Lois Lane.
Yeah.
He proved in that second, and that of Lois, I need to tell you something, and just stood up, and you're like, fuck, okay, yep, no, you got me. That's the magic of Christopher Reeves.
That's right. Yeah, he definitely understood that. That's that's the character as we know. The character, it's Superman disguised as a bumbling human,
right?
Not the other way around, right? So you're right. So good. When I
tricked himself into nothing and just morph, and it's incredible. Yeah. I think you're right on this one.
There you go.
All right, my next one. This character has actually been played a few different times, but nobody can hold the essence and magic than Gene Wilder did with Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of Willy Wonkas. You have this hit kid with playing Willy Wonka. Who's it?
Chalamet.
Yes, Timothy Chalamet. Johnny Depp did it, and we know how good Johnny Depp is, and we know how good Timothy Chalamet is. But nobody can hold a candle to the presence and acumen of Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
he
fantastic.
Is and will always be the Willy Wonka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just all the good small choices that he did for the role, and I mean, I don't know, acting comparison to the other two, but for this role, there's no comparison.
Yeah,
Willy Wonka is Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder is Willy Wonka.
Yeah, he really rode that line so well of just kind of creepy, just terror, and it's the bizarre candy guy. Why. Right.
You know that you should be fine with it, And then at a certain point, you realize, oh, I should be mad at him because he's murdering children.
It
Yet
doesn't really care.
he doesn't really care. It's nonchalant. It's fine. Oh, be fine.
Should have obeyed the rules.
Yeah. Like, okay, psychopath, you're murdering all these children. Yeah, it's so fucking great. Willy Wonka.
Great one. Well, I mentioned I started watching this television show for the first time as an adult over the winter. I had not sat down and watched this show. No reason, just other than I hadn't made the time to do so, and it sort of became a weekend ritual, which is very nice. It's something to look forward to on the week. I've done the last couple of weekends, but I do like it when I still make the time for Star Trek, the original series. Leonard Nimoy is Mr. Spock. Now, it is a perfectly cast role. Obviously, Mr. Spock's been played by other characters, fine, But as I watched that show, it's like, man, he was just so fucking good in that role, in that show. Just the tone and the demeanor of he was, I mean, as we know, he was half an alien race, part human, part Vulcan. And just his demeanor and his the logic, and he just really doesn't emote the same way as a human. He was sort of always had that detachment, that coldness, kind of. It just was such a great performance from Leonard Nimoy on that show. You get the other, and Shatner was great as Kirk. Don't get me wrong; other actors could play. I think Kirk, Shatner was fantastic. And many actors could play a lot of those other characters, but I don't think anybody could hold a candle to Leonard Nimoy as Mr. Spock in that era.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about this with some of the other actors. It's not just the words that were coming out; it's his body language. It's his emotion on his face, or lack of emotion. Where there are some
eyebrows. I mean, everything.
He did a great because he was half human. There were times where like there's a tiny twinge of the eyebrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was still keeping with the no emotion. But like you can tell there's a very small part of him that there was deep hidden somewhat emotions, right?
Yes.
And I think he did that so well.
Yeah. Great role.
Absolutely. All right. My number 5. You want to go a new icon, right? Or should I say a new Christmas icon?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Buddy the Elf.
Sure.
Will Ferrell as Buddy the Elf. Now, I got firsthand of this because I went to see Christmas Elf the musical at a local theater last year, and it is proof that not everybody can be Buddy the Elf.
No.
There's that childlike innocence that Will Ferrell has, even being as large of a man that he is. There's that childlike innocence and that spontaneity and almost psychoticness of him, or in his comedy, like him, not his as a person, but like in his comedy, there is that what the fuck is he going to do next situation, and he brings that to that role of Buddy. And I couldn't see anybody else pulling that off with the wildness that he did.
Yeah. That's a great one. Without his performance, that movie certainly would not be. Yeah, it would probably. It would not be. It has become what they set out to be, a holiday classic that many people watch every single season. Including me.
Of him. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we watch it at least once a year.
Yep. You're right. So many scenes of that. I could watch that scene with him in the doctor's office I just love that scene so much.
Right.
When he's like eating the cotton balls and he's squirming on the table, and asking the questions about this. Oh, look at this! Why is there a skeleton over there in the corner? Oh, just like a little kid, just so good, so good.
It couldn't beat it. Couldn't beat it. All right, you got a number 5?
I do. So now this actor you could put in a couple different roles here, but when you first saw him on the big screen as a totally new character and feel. And the second he, the opening scene of the first movie is so good. And when he turned around and you first saw him standing there when the light hit his face as Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford, that, I mean, you could almost say Han Solo as well, but you could argue that Han Solo could have been played by other actors and it probably would have been fine.
Yep.
But Harrison Ford definitely embodied Indiana Jones from his core, just the toughness to the kind of the bumbling at times, just a guy just trying to make it work. He played when he was teaching the kids, you got to see that side of him,
The exhaustedness on his face in half the movie. Like he's a real guy, like can't believe, like, oh my God, I'm in these situations. Like, how am I in these situations?
Yes.
Like he never was like this. I mean, maybe a couple times, but for the most part, he did not have the confidence that other action stars,
That's true.
had.
Great.
He was the everyman in these wild adventures.
Yes. Yes. Made mistakes, got beat up, like you said.
A lot. Yep.
So. Yeah, when they talked about maybe Chris Pratt were going to come in and be in the new, I'm just like, you can't fucking do that, man. You could have an offshoot, maybe he's a son or something. You could do all that shit. You can't say somebody else is Indiana Jones. It's not going to work for a lot of people.
Not at all.
Yeah. There you go. That's my 5.
All right. I have a couple.
Mitch? Go ahead.
I have a couple. I'll run through them real quick.
Sure.
Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp is Jack Sparrow. There's a lot of intricacies that he did with that character that not a lot of actors, I think, would have done.
Right.
Forrest Gump.
Sure.
Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump. You could have put anybody in the role, but there wouldn't have been that wide-eyed innocence that Tom Hanks holds, right?
Yes. Yep.
Loki, Tom Hiddleston.
Good.
Now, if we'd have done this list after the first movie that he was in, you'd have gone, yeah, you could put anybody in there. But given all the different nuances that he's put in through the movies and the series of his own, I put Tom Hiddleston as Loki up in that echelon. Yep. And then Cillian Murphy as Robert Oppenheimer.
Good. Okay.
Robert, if you are familiar with Robert Oppenheimer, the person, and then look at like Cillian Murphy as him, the resemblance is there. But Cillian Murphy, like, I don't know if it's like because of how slender his face is or like the bone structure, but he does such a haunting performance as somebody that is just aghast of what he has become and what he has made. It is one of my favorite performances in cinema over the past 5-10 years, even 20. And I don't think anybody could have brought that hauntingness that Oppenheimer needed to have, that he probably had in real life. So there is my honorable mentions. Do you have any honorable?
There's so many that we could talk about here. A handful I wrote down here. The character Hans Landa from Inglourious Basterds, Christoph Waltz.
That almost was on my list. I looked at it. Yeah.
Academy Award performance, just so frightening as the Nazi commander.
I would say any role that he's in couldn't be done by anybody else. Like, he's so goddamn good.
Yeah. Fun one. Shaggy, played by Matthew Lillard.
Okay, I'll give you that
The
one.
Scooby-Doo movies, it's like, who's going to play? That kid, man, was just the perfect. Again, you can't picture another live action Shaggy
You're right.
beyond that kid. And all the other ones did a great job, right? But you can't replace Shaggy, I don't think, after his performance. It was just too good. J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
As a kid growing up with that character on animated shows and the comic books and all that stuff, J.K. Simmons just embodied that role from the look, the mannerisms.
It's one of those roles where you hear him talk and you go, fuck, that's what I was hearing in my head reading it.
That's right.
Exactly like that. That's insane that they got that so good.
Parker. Yeah, it's so good.
Like the voice and the manner. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, great role for him. Glad to see he made it back in the new Spider-Man storyline. Fantastic. Again, this character keeps making his way into many lists, many shows. Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins. Perfect role. Again, another Academy Award-winning performance for a villain just so creepy. Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes in Misery. Frightening.
Yep.
Frightening. Just the playing so well with James Caan, and just so just again, another, that whole movie just has every scene she's in, you're just uneasy. You don't know what's going to happen. She could snap in a minute.
Right.
Just played the role perfectly, beautifully, creepy, so good. And again, one of our favorite movies, Pulp Fiction. Samuel Jackson as Jules.
Oh,
absolutely a perfect role for him. They seemed to embody his personality. A lot of great performances in that movie, but that's the one character
that a little bit and put the tag team with John Travolta.
That's sure, you could say that
because of them
together.
Yeah,
great pairing for sure, and so many others out there. But those just a few that come to mind here. So, what are the perfect characters that perfectly cast roles that you think out there? Let us know.
Now, I thought about this real quick. We do these lists every week, and you guys listen to us. What I would like to know, what I think it would be fun, hell, even if I don't know, you don't tell us who do it. I would like these lists that we do as our main topic every week. Bring them to the bar with you.
Yeah.
And have these discussions with your friends. We're bringing these topics and these ideas, like that we'd be sitting at a bar bullshitting and drinking beers and talking about our favorite nerd stuff. So take these topics and bring them to your local pub and have amongst your friends.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the fucking weather.
Right.
You know?
It's fucking cold and raining outside, and it's goddamn almost June.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Come on, man. Dean, we've done it again.
We did.
We have brought the world
to its knees.
To its knees. Brought global entertainment
to a
yet again. That is definitely true. So thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. As a reminder, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Find us out there. Find us on our YouTube channel. Find us on our Linktree page, Linktree Convincing Idiots. Find us on our webpage, convincingidiots.wordpress.com. Tune in each and every week. We appreciate your support. And have we convinced you that we are perfectly cast characters in our own lives?
Hey, did you like that video? You know you did, and we know you did. So stop screwing around and go like that video, subscribe to our channel, and join us for some more.